Hey everyone, it's the Bert from the Bert's Flies and Guide Service. Checking in this week with another fly. I said last week that I was going to do the blue-winged olive, but I've been tying a bunch of these rubber leg stonefly nymphs. And I'm still working on a few for a client. So I figured, well, while I got everything out and going, I might as well do a video on these. This fly is a big stonefly nymph. Uh, Quite a few materials in this one. Can be a little challenging to tie at times. And it's kind of my own little variation on a fairly common nymph pattern. You can see a finished product in the vase right now. In the vise right now. This is an olive ice dub rubber leg stonefly that I did. Again, these come in various colors: regular olive, black, gold, or yellow. Probably those are the most common. But this is a pattern that I found from a shop, and I just kind of took it and put my own little spin on it. Like I said, the one that I originally found, it was just olive dubbing, and I threw this olive ice dub on it. And it seems to have works quite well for me. I'm going to go through all the different materials here in a second. See, there's a couple of olive turkey biots, which I'll be using. Like I said, there's the olive ice dubbing, olive thread. This is a thick thread. This is 140. This is I use for a ribbing. It's just a vinyl rib, again in a green. This for the with the wing case. I use this nymph skin, the black nymph skin, and of course for the rubber legs is just the rubber leg that I've already cut and measured. Everything's ready to roll, so I'll take this one out. And the one that I'm tying right here is a size 10. I usually tie a size 8 or a size 10 bead head. For these ones I always tie them with a bead. And I also put a little bit of lead wire. Helps hold the bead in place, and it also helps it get down quite quickly. So the first thing I always do is just put on this pretty good helping of lead-free lead wire. When you take the lead wire off, I have a pair of scissors, an old pair of scissors that are not the best, so I just use that to snip it off. But I wouldn't recommend using a good pair of your scissors on the lead wire. It will dull it up pretty good. You can just kind of twist and rotate the lead off. But whatever works for you. Get that tilted a little bit. There we go. Alright, once that's in there nice and secure, I always push that right up in under the bead. Start winding on the thread. Yeah, this is pretty thick thread. I'll try not to get too crazy with the thread base, otherwise you end up with a thicker body than you really want. I always put a few wraps around the wire itself. Just helps lock it down. I'm not going to worry about leveling it off quite yet, because the materials I'm going to be putting on here in a second will kind of do that on its own. Like most flies, when you're tying in the tail, I always let the thread hang pretty much right at the barb of the hook. First thing I'm going to tie in is the turkey biots. Now these have a natural flare to them, one way or the other. So when you tie these in, have the flares going to the outside. Let's see. You can tie these in at 2 at a time, or both of them at the same time. But I seem to have better luck doing one at a time. Whatever works, again, whatever works for you. I don't think with any flies there's really one set way to tie anything, so whatever methods you find that work the best, that's the best way to tie it. I think the hardest part for these is making sure they line up. You kind of want them to be fairly even. Alright, looks good. And lock those in. Very good. Now we'll take the vinyl rib. I run the excess right up to the lead wire. This stuff is kind of slick and thick, so it's kind of challenging to lock down. I put a couple loose wraps on the way as I go up, and that helps secure it. And as you can see now, everything is nice and leveled off. The body is fairly even. You don't want to get too much stuff on that lead wire because you got quite a bit of stuff to build the wing case with. So if you get too much stuff up there, you end up getting crowded and it's hard to put in the rubber legs. I'll just snip off the excess of that. You're only going to get about 2 or 3 ribs on a size 10, so I have, you know, just a fairly short length of that on here. Alright. My bobbin is squeaking. So I use a little bit of wax. Actually, I use a fair amount of wax on this one. This ice dub, it's quite challenging sometimes to get it to stick onto the thread well. So when you're pulling this stuff out, I always pull it out and kind of rip it off and try to get it kind of fluffy. And I put it on in sections, otherwise it kind of gets thickened up. See, like that, it's already a little too thick. You don't want it to get real bulky for the body. Get up to the wing casing, it's not too important to get it too tight, but yeah, you don't need a whole lot of this stuff. I've always found that it's better to use a little bit less dubbing. Just wind that up. Just a little bit more. Basically just winding it up to right up to the lead, the lead wire that you put on there. Just like that. Go ahead and take your vinyl rib, wind one pretty close to the butt end. Try to get them nice and even. Again, there's my 3. And this last turn will be my tie-in. I always do a couple on one side and then a couple on the other. This helps hold it, lock it in. Like I said, the stuff's kind of thick and it has a tendency to slip out of the thread. That's where I'll snip off, leave a little bit. I'll tie it right up to the bead. Alright, now that's in. Now I go ahead and tie in a little piece of nymph skin. Most important thing of this is making sure that it's straight. So when you pull it over to make the wing case, it's not cockeyed or slanted in one direction or the other. There we go. And we'll lock that down. Alright, I've got my lengths of rubber leg already cut out. What I do is just fold these, get the tips even, make the little loop, and then tie that in and kind of manipulate it as you need to. These things can be difficult to get into the position that you want them. Sometimes it takes a little bit of manipulating. Alright, I got them tied in pretty tight now. Now I'll pull them down to get them in the position. that I want. So with these first ones, you kind of want them facing back into the, at an angled back for that first set. The next set, the front legs are, well, just the opposite. They're facing to the front. So we'll just do the same thing, facing the other direction. Alright. Make sure those are locked down nice and tight. Alright. So those are in. Just take your thread back to the tie-in point of the skin. Use a little bit more wax, and I'm going to use the dubbing to build up a nice wing case. Again, same thing. Pull out small chunks. I usually do this again in sections to make sure that everything goes together nicely. I usually only do about one turn behind the first set of legs. Couple in the middle. And some in front of that set of legs. So once you get that in there and you're satisfied, you go ahead and just take that skin, that nymph skin, pull it up over to the bead. Again, make sure that it's flat. This rubber has a tendency to fold or bend when you try to tie it in. Get one wrap down, pull it nice and tight. I usually do two, and then I go to the front and do two, pull everything down into the bead. That bead should be nice and locked in tight. Snip off the excess. Couple more turns in there. Whoa, that is squeaky. Then go ahead, whip finish that off. Careful not to catch your legs. Alright, now it's all tied off. Now the next thing I do helps pop that wing case out nice. Take your head cement, take a pretty good glob of it, put it at the tie-in point where you whip finished it, and then spread it out across that wing case. And when it hardens, you get a nice, hard, glossy wing case. It looks pretty in the water. And there you go. I know those biots look a little uneven, but from the camera angle, they're not. They're pretty good. Alright, so this is my rubber leg stonefly olive. And again, I love this fly. It's probably one of my favorite flies. Caught the biggest rainbow I've ever got on one of these. I like using these a lot to hang a small nymph, like a size 18 nymph off of, with having this one like a 1.5 feet or so above the small one, real close to the bottom. I mean, or you can just run this one by itself. I often fish a 2 nymph setup, but great fly. It looks really cool when it's floating through the water with those rubber legs popped out. It really looks like a bug, which is kind of the point. And if your legs aren't even, you can go ahead and just snip them off. But yeah, that's the beadhead olive rubber leg stonefly. These are, like I said, there's a million different types of stonefly nymphs. This is my favorite, the rubber leg. And you can tie a regular stonefly, without the bead, with the bead, however you like. But this is one of my favorites. Alright, if you like what you see, if you like my videos, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Check me out on Etsy and Facebook, the Burt's Flies and Guide Service. Thanks. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.